Thank you for joining. I want to jump in on a very, very important topic that, of course, same. Okay. Identity is something that never changes. Okay. Because that creates a lot of damage in our head. So here's the crazy. Actually, it's not frozen on my end. Sure. It's actually showing a very clear signal on my end. So I'm not really sure if that's yours. I'm not sure because I don't have any notification. But welcome, by the way. So again, let's talk about this because I think when we talk about changing our habits or identity, right? And Neville uses the word states. Okay, there's a loaded stuff here. All right, because we're we're called intersubjective beings. So don't worry, I'm going to explain what that means. Intersubjective is just a philosophical cool word that makes you sound smart when you go to parties. Hey, do you know what intersubjective means? All it means is that we agree on certain rules and certain behaviors, like, for example, to open a door for somebody or to take care of the things Goddard, whatever it is, why is it right? Hey, Raheem, it's actually coming up really clear. So I don't know why it's showing up on your guys' thing. I'm actually full signal. So I'm gonna keep talking and see if that changes anything. But if it continues, guys, just let me know. Um, but again, so why is it so hard to change? Okay. So again, we have to understand identity. And so identity itself is not something that just happens to you. And I think this is a very dangerous thing within manifestation circles is that we're like, you only focus on yourself. Problem is one that feeds into the culture of being an individual, right? And not just individuality, because individuality is part of individualism. Okay. Don't worry, I'm gonna throw out all today is because you being as an individual to form your identity. So then you start comparing yourself. Am I individual enough? Am I not individual enough? Have I brand? the Apple I do I have the newest Apple iPhone, right? That's all individualism. And we turn that into a religion, okay? And that means a belief system, right? That we adhere to and we judge ourselves and others by. Oh, you know what? They're just following the herd. We even use terms about musicians like, oh, they're just selling out. Like Taylor Swift is just a sellout, right? Or whatever it is. You can take your favorite band. And as soon as they write or they compose a certain song, we're like, nope, they're just selling out. Yeah, but how would you even know what selling out means unless you know what comparing is? Okay, so that means you have an identity that is about comparing yourself to others or comparing others to others, right? And so you're like, well, no, no, they're not like this or they're not like that. Are you with me? Right? So, and if you are, just let me know. And when we are constantly comparing ourselves to the culture and the to be an individual, life goals are, or even what you want to manifest is. Guess, just guess. If the culture worships individualism, and it defines you yourself as an individual, and then you learn as you grow up, what do you want to be when you grow up? So then what do you learn, right? That, hey, it's about me, it's about me. Okay, so then what you do is you create an avatar or an image or someone to look up to that is what, an individual, not somebody who is, hey, I'm one with everything that I want. It's, I'm never one with everything that I want, right? And so then you end up having a an identity that's stuck in a loop of con- so we get taught to avoid loss. Okay, lose anything. So then if you are in a culture that says you need to measure yourself against being an individual all of the time, right? And you measure your individuality against someone else's, right? So remember, this is all measurement, okay? Now, if you take that from the field of quantum physics, the observation, what you're observing, right, is a form of measurement. So you're actually measuring, and whatever you measure or observe in the world of quantum physics, it expands. The energy expands. So that means another way of saying that is the more that you focus on what you don't have, the more that you won't have it, right? And again, you then start thinking that your identity is at a loss constantly. So then what are you going to do? If you think that you are a person who has an identity that is built around you need this, and that's what consumerism is, right? You buy this product. Like, why do you think that you have advertisements that are always about, hey, if you have this, you're cool. Hey, if you have this, then you need this thing as well. So you need to up level and grade up, and I mean up. that are unique. And then if you're not, then there's something wrong with you. Okay. So then what with me? Okay. Um, Again, just so that everybody is with me on this one. Right. And so I want to make sure that everybody's here who's watching. Just leave a comment below. Right. Let me see here. All right. So again, yeah. So again, when you look at yourself as something that is like, as in somebody that has an identity, that so change is a process and the like reward based neurochemicals that work together with dopamine, like serotonin, which is the mood, and above anything else. Then guess what you're going to do? Measure, like, hey, I want to manifest something huge. I want to manifest something grand. I want to manifest something exciting. Okay. But then I have a culture that says I can't lose. I shouldn't lose anything. Right. So we have this idea, this old school idea that is really, by the way, a misrepresentation, a violent misinterpretation of the evolutionary idea of survival of the fittest, right? Which is he who dies with the most toys wins, right? And that's all about acquisition, right? But you don't see, here's the problem with that idea. Everything about that cultural ideology, or the set of ideas around it, is that you have to lose, that somebody else has to lose. And so then again, what did we talk about earlier? You are trained to be loss aversive. That means you don't want to lose. And what is change? Change is letting go. Change is letting go of the former self, the former story, the former limiting beliefs. The I keep telling it. I find so in Neville's positions, he even talks about this. It's very interesting. He says, humans have this weird kind of affinity, like a draw towards this notion of falling in love with their own hurt, or falling in love with their own pain. Are you with me? Right? Are you with me? So this is really, because a lot of people get confused by this, because they measure that against themselves. They're like, I don't fall in love with my own pain. I don't fall in love with my own fear of loss. I don't fall in love with my fear of rejection. But you do. Why and how? Well, check this out. If you are constantly, and this is why I started out the way I started out, if you are constantly measuring yourself against what you don't have, you're going to try to fill it with things. Okay. And so rather than filling it with the solution, you fill it with other things. And so this is like the person who says, you know what, I really want to work over here, but then I'm going to take this other job to actually work at this job. So in my group coaching, we actually talked about this last week, right? And so what what you end up doing though is you reinforce an identity that's